Hey everyone, Jason here, digital marketing consultant, and in this goal setting framework, you're going to get a complete, done for you, as close to fill in the blank as we can get to creating your own goals for your digital agency or digital products business. This is going to be especially helpful if you're still in side hustle mode and your time is limited and you're trying to figure out what is the most important thing to focus on in order to bring your business to life. So make sure you check out those timestamps below along with some other helpful videos I'll be referencing to help you with your goal setting and business growth process. So to kick things off, the very first thing we need to do before we set our goals and talk about the 4 digital business quadrants and those fill in the blanks is take one big step back and talk about your vision. So to help us do this, we're going to borrow Simon Sinek's Golden Circle. I'll link up in the description to his TED Talk, but essentially you need to understand why you're in business. And if you're familiar with the vision boarding process, this can replace the why question as well. So either figure out what is ultimately driving you to create this business or what is your vision for your life and your business in the future. So this is essentially your North Star, your ideal scenario, what you're ultimately working towards. It needs to be more than just, I want to make a bunch of money, right? There needs to be some sort of real passion or drive behind this specific business that you are starting and growing. And so once you have that North Star, the next thing you want to look at is the how. And this is going to be your business's unique selling proposition and how you go about essentially bringing your vision to life. And then finally, we have the what. And this is going to just be your products, your services, and all of the goals that you set in order to bring that vision to life. So think of your vision as your giant North Star, and then your what is going to be all of your goals, and the how is, well, that's up to you to figure out how you connect the two, right? You know what your vision is, you set some goals, and then you figure out how to accomplish those goals to bring that vision to life. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to goal setting, all businesses almost have the exact same types of goals. They want market share, they want more sales, they want more customers, they want better products, and then of course they want an awesome team of employees and contractors that make the whole thing work, right? And so that leads us into step number 2 of our process here, but step number 1 of the goal setting process, and that is using the 4 digital business quadrants to figure out what your goals need to be now in order to achieve that vision that you've set for yourself and your business. So I'll go through what these quadrants are very quickly, and then I will go through the 3 different types of goals you can have for each one of these: surge, explore, or refine. So first, let's go ahead and go through these quadrants. We have the team quadrant, which is all your internal stuff, hiring, unfortunately firing as well, right? Training, developing processes. This is your business system. Then we have content, and content is going to be creating blog posts, your social media marketing, your native ads, your YouTube videos, your podcasts, whatever you're doing to grow an audience, right? And then we're going to have sales funnel, which is your sales process, your customer acquisition and conversion process. And then of course we have products, which is your products, your services, the ultimate value that you're delivering to your customers. So within each one of these quadrants, what you're going to want to do is set one of these 3 types of goals. You're going to set a refine goal, you're going to set a surge goal, we're going to have a sustain goal just for content, we'll get to that in a moment, and then an explore goal. So this ensures that you don't set too many goals at once. It's also going to help you be laser focused on exactly what you're trying to achieve this month, week, quarter, or year. We'll get to goal laddering in a moment and how to actually space these out so you don't take on too many goals at once. So first, let's go through the team quadrant. Now, your objective for the team quadrant is to remove tasks from your plate and empower others on your team to take over those tasks. So the first type of goal you can have is surge, and this is where you are focusing on hiring, finding new talent, and offloading more onto your plate. Then the second type of goal you could have is refine, and this is where you're not necessarily hiring or training anyone new. You're just looking at your current processes, your current team, and you're saying, okay, how do we improve upon the systems and processes that we already have? So and where surge is, you know what, we need to go find people, let's grow the team. Here is saying, we're not going to grow this quarter or this year or this month. Let's focus on what we have and how we make it a better, well-oiled machine. And then finally, we have explore, and this is where you are training team members, where your focus is, okay, you know what, we're going to improve the processes that we have by exploring a completely new process, or explore might be a result of one of the other quadrants, exploring something new, like tackling another content platform. So speaking of content, this is going to be your second quadrant, and again, you want to choose one of these types of goals to set. So whether you're looking at quarterly goals or annual goals, you want to have one big goal for each one of these quadrants, and you want to choose which type of goal to focus on. This is going to make sure that you don't try and do too much at once. So when it comes to your content creation, we actually have a fourth goal, and that is just sustain. So I'll kick things off with that because sometimes you're going to be so busy with everything else, you're gonna look at content and go, you know what? We're just gonna try and keep posting and creating the amount of content that we're creating right now. It's just gonna stay the same. And that's okay to have your goal to stay the same because it's so easy for content to start falling through the cracks and you go from 5 posts down to 3 and then 1 and then all of a sudden you're not posting anymore, right? So the other types of goals you can have here is surge, and this is going to be where you actually ramp up your content production. So you're not exploring new content platforms, you're just creating more content. So for example, with our business and YouTube channel, we focus on YouTube a lot. So surge in terms of content would be just making more YouTube videos. It wouldn't be going and starting a podcast. Going and starting a podcast or doing a blog post, that for us would be explore because we haven't done that yet. So we wouldn't try to ramp up our YouTube content and go start a podcast or blog at the same time. You'd want to choose one so you could focus on it and really do a good job. So that's what explore is. And then of course, refine in the center. I know I went all over the place on this one. Is just going to be streamlining and improving your current content. So here you're looking at, you know what, we're still posting 5 times a week, right? Or we're still posting 3 videos a week. 5 times a week is a lot, right? That might be your surge. So let's say we're posting 3 times a week. So instead of saying we're gonna try another platform, or instead of saying, you know what, let's go ahead and post 5 times a week, you're gonna say we're gonna keep it at 3, but we're gonna figure out how to cut down the amount of time it takes us to make that content, or you're gonna look at how do we make this content even better than it is now. So that's gonna be what refine is in this particular quadrant. Again, just choose one. These all take way more time than you could ever imagine. So now let's go ahead and go to the sales side of things. So here your objective, of course, is going to be acquiring new customers. So surge is going to be, again, keeping your current process and just ramping it up. So if you're spending money on advertising, you're gonna spend more money on ads. You're gonna spend more time optimizing ads. If you're doing cold calling, then you're going to make more sales calls, right? But when it comes to surge, you're just increasing the volume of what you're already doing. It's very important that you never try and increase the volume of what you're doing and try and create a new traffic source or a new lead generation source or project at the same time. So it's very important you just choose one. So you're either going to surge with what you have, or you can go down to explore, and that's where you're going to be putting together a new sales funnel, a new customer acquisition process. And of course, in the center, you're going to be looking at your current processes and figure out how do we make these more effective? Because you might find that, hey, you know what, we're already running 3 or 4 different ad campaigns. I'm already doing X number of sales calls a week. I just need to hunker down, continue doing what I'm doing, but figure out how I can be more effective and more efficient with what I'm doing. But again, you're not going to look at becoming more effective or more efficient in your sales process if you're trying to create a new sales funnel or new sales process at the same time. Again, just choose one. I keep repeating that, but it's so important. You're going to see when we get to goal laddering how powerful the power of one is actually going to be. So finally, we have product. And of course, your objective here is to cultivate lifelong customers through amazing products and services. Now, surge here is going to be a little different and nuanced, but by the time you're done with this, you're going to see the difference between surge and refine when it comes to creating and improving your products. So when it comes to surge in this particular quadrant, you're going to be aggressively learning from your current customers or aggressively doing research to figure out how to better understand your customers. So as a quick example, other than just sending out as another survey monkey thing and asking, hey, how are we doing? How can we improve? You know, you want to look for ways that you can actually gain deeper insights onto how your product or service is being used by your ideal customer. So something in the software realm that a lot of UX and UI designers do is they will actually record how people use a software, and then they will literally sit there for hours and watch people go through the software and figure out where are people having hiccups in using the software or using the particular process. Now, of course, if you're not providing software, you can't necessarily play that creepy big brother card and track everything that your customers are doing, but I just use that as an example to show what surge in this particular quadrant is all about. It's all about learning from your customer. Then on the flip side of the coin, once you've learned all of that, refine is actually going into your product product or service and improving it. But you don't want to go into your product or service and start improving it just based on what you think, right? Or what your business partner or friends think. You need to surge first here to aggressively have a better understanding of your customer and then go improve your product or service. Don't just make changes that you think are going to be great, because ultimately you might find that the changes you're making are actually worse for the customer, right? And then of course here, the last one, explore. This is where you're looking at, okay, what new products or services can we bring to market? So hopefully surge, explore, and refine are three things that you can really understand how to apply to each one of these quadrants, and then start setting actionable goals, which is going to be our last step of the process, goal laddering. Now, quickly going back to our company vision, our big North Star, we're going to take that and connect it to all the goals that we've created. So every single goal that you set, think of it as a ladder or a step towards creating that vision, bringing that vision into reality. And so this is going to be the last step of our process. And this is going to be a little controversial, but you need to choose one big goal to focus on per quarter. Each one of these blocks represents a quarter, and if we add a little overlay here, you can see that our vision would come to life in about 5.5 years. Now, I know this might seem way OCD or ridiculous. Like, you're kidding me? It's going to take 5 years to get the vision that I want? But you want to think of your vision as the last domino in this series, or the steps or ladders, whatever analogy works the best for you, in this series of dominoes where you're starting today. And so when it comes to setting these goals, I'll quickly go through an example of what our goals look like for 2020. And when you're setting these goals, they're all based upon actions. I hope you noticed that when we were going through, none of these goals were saying X number of sales or X number of new customers, because at the end of the day, we can't actually control those results. Our goals need to be action-based, and we're hopefully assuming that when we take the action and complete the action, we get the result. Now, sometimes you don't, right? And that's part of business, and that's part of understanding the how, because you can clearly define your vision and you can clearly define the what, but the how in the center is always going to change. The how in between those is always going to change and be different. So just be ready for the fact that just because you set a goal doesn't always mean it's going to achieve the result that you're looking for. But when you focus on results, you take 100% of the responsibility. And at the end of the week, the month, the quarter, there's never any excuses, because you set your goals based upon actions. So speaking of actions, here's what our annual goals looked like for 2020 before a bunch of things changed, right? So for our team, we had a surge goal, hiring 3 writers, 1 account manager. For content, we were just at sustain. We said, you know what? We just want to keep posting the same amount that we are posting. And then we also had a goal for 200 blog posts. We'll get to why there's actually 8 instead of 4 total here. So explore, we wanted to create some new funnels. And then for sales funnel, we had explore, we wanted to create some new funnels and then refine 2 funnels that we already had. And for product, we wanted to explore, create a new product, and then refine a current service that we already had. Now, I've been really harping on the point that you need to have one for each one of these quadrants. And that's assuming that you're in side hustle mode and you're working by yourself. If you have a business partner or you have part-time or full-time team members, it's okay to create goals for them, right? Which is why we have 8. There's 4 quarters, there's 2 of us, myself and my business partner, so it works. We each get 4 and 1 per quarter that we really focus on. So that's how the math works out here, but you just want to make sure that you're not taking on too much, because that ladder doesn't work when you're trying to create multiple, refine and explore and sustain and create multiple things at once. Focus is the key, because if you're in side hustle mode, you have 2 to 3 hours per day. Even business owners who are working full time, at best, we get 4 or 5 hours in the morning, and then we have to work on all that other stuff, right? There's a bunch of other things in growing your business that you still have to do, right? We still have to check email, we still have to respond to clients, we still have to fix bugs in our software and website, all that other stuff that's just day-to-day business running, right? And sometimes that could take up half, if not more, of your workday. So when we're talking about allocations in terms of the actual time you have, you probably only have 10 to 20 hours a week to devote 100% of your focus and energy to a big new goal, which is why it's so important that you have one big goal per quadrant and you have one big goal per quarter. Now, of course, if you want to break your goals down even smaller, you could do it on a monthly basis, but I definitely wouldn't go less than a month, because after that, you're really just creating a project plan week to week as opposed to having weekly goals. So I sincerely hope you got some value out of this video, and most importantly, going through those 4 different quadrants and the 3 different types of goals you can set, sustain, or 4 different types, I guess. 1, sustain, then refine, explore, and of course, surge was helpful in figuring out how to set your business goals and stay focused. Make sure you comment below with any of your questions. I still read and reply to every single one. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dive business building videos just like this one. And until the next, keep building the business you love.